Jeff and Jenny Bramley were told today that the foster daughters they took away to Ireland can stay with them, at least for the immediate future. A judge said it would be in the best interest of the girls, Jade and Hannah Bennett, until their long-term futures decided. ITN Sue Saville reports.
Cambridgeshire Social Services revealed that the Bramleys can keep the girls for the short term and defended their own actions.
I'm aware that from the statement made by Mr. and Mrs. Bramley's solicitor that the offer I made on Thursday evening was the crucial step in securing the return of the children. The action we have taken over the last 48 hours has been fully in accordance with both the spirit and the letter of that offer. I'm pleased with the cooperation we have received from Mr. and Mrs. Bramley since their return.
Jeff and Jenny Bramley will be delighted with the news. They can keep 5-year-old Jade and her sister 3-year-old Hannah for the few months the adoption hearing is expected to last. The girl's future is in the hands of the High Court in London. Mrs. Justice Hogg says the Bramleys now need space to plan for the future. The couple say they were not leading a nomadic existence on the run, but enjoying a family holiday here in southwest Ireland. In the fishing village of Fenit, they rented a caravan, and locals thought them to be friendly tourists.
Respectable people, two beautiful children, well brought up, well reared.
All parties to the case of Jade and Hannah say the girls' best interests are paramount. In a statement read in court, Mrs. Justice Hogg said she's determined to give the children as much protection as possible. She placed an injunction on press and broadcasters against any reporting which might intrude on that privacy. Sue Saville, News at 10 at the High Court.
England were tonight sensationally kicked out of the Five Nations Rugby Union Championship. It's over the way television money is carved up and the Rugby Football Union's failure to give an undertaking about it before a deadline ran out at midday. Italy are poised to take England's place. Ben McCarthy reports.
The Five Nations Championship is the most prestigious event in the European rugby calendar, but the England team will now be forced to watch the tournament from the touchline after being thrown out by the competition's organising committee. English rugby's governing body, the RFU, and the organisers of the Five Nations Championship have been in dispute for several weeks over money for television rights. The RFU was given until midday today to agree to a deal which would divide the profits between all the countries which take part. Tonight it had failed to agree terms, so England was expelled. In a statement, the Five Nations Committee said, "The deadline having passed, England ceased to be a member of the Five Nations Committee and the Championship," adding that the chairman, Alan Hosey, will consult with the other nations to see if the position can be resolved. But behind the scenes, the talking will go on. Many in the rugby world believe there's brinkmanship on both sides. Few can see the Five Nations without England. Tonight, Francis Barron, chief executive of the RFU, said, "We've again proposed a meeting to resolve outstanding issues and hope that this is now taken up by the committee. It's essential for the game, supporters, players, broadcasters and sponsors that we sit down and agree a way forward." One former England coach says the competition can continue without England, but it won't be the same.
Well, one's certainly got to sorry for everyone in rugby, and it seems a very extreme course of action, which is going to deprive people from watching England, playing against England.
Now, with just over 4 weeks to England's first game, the Five Nations look set to start without the team everyone wants to beat. Ben McCarthy, News at 10.
At least 8 people were killed in the United States when a series of tornadoes hit the state of Tennessee. Winds of up to 100 miles an hour caused massive damage, flattening homes and businesses and bringing down trees and power lines. The storm system began in Arkansas, where this video was shot, but it did most damage when it reached Tennessee, killing 6 people at one point when one tornado touched down and traveled along the ground. Hundreds of people were left picking through the debris of their possessions, while thousands others had to cope without power. The law lords began their unprecedented second hearing today to decide if General Augusto Pinochet, as the former head of state in Chile, has immunity from arrest, extradition and trial. He was alleged today, in the case for his prosecution, to have ordered torture and murders even before he formally came to power. Reporting from the Lords, here's our senior correspondent, Mark Austin.
This is a hearing that's making history. Never before have the law lords had to review one of their own decisions, and seldom have they had before them a case of such international significance. They brought their protests to the gates of Britain's highest court, both supporters and opponents of the detained dictator. And at the House of Lords today, Baltasar Garzón, the Spanish judge hunting down Pinochet and who's demanding his extradition on charges of murder and torture. The 7 law lords are hearing arguments about whether, as a former head of state, Pinochet has immunity from prosecution. Alan Jones QC says he hasn't. His crimes, he said, broke international law, and some of them were committed before he became head of state. He detailed gruesome cases of torture and systematic rape. The regime's chief torturer, he said, took orders directly from General Pinochet. Today, a plea from the son of one alleged victim.
So, dear lords, and the entire judicial system of England, on behalf of my father's memory, I appeal to your sense of justice. Please permit Mr. Baltasar Garzón to prosecute General Pinochet.
The 83-year-old Pinochet is following proceedings from his rented Surrey mansion. Supporters want him set free, calling it a politically inspired kidnap.
We have our own process of reconciliation. And what's happening here, it's recrimination, and we want to go to the future.
This hearing could last up to 2 weeks. After the embarrassment of another law lord's undisclosed links to Amnesty International, these judges will want justice to be done and be seen to be done. Mark Austin, News at 10 at the House of Lords.
Coming up next on the programme, tonight's other main news and sport. A mother on the right hears the family's Australian nanny admit to killing her daughter. England defender Sol Campbell, flanked by minders, is charged by police. Almost an own goal in tonight's thriller at Villa. And betting on the bookies, William Hill's selling shares, but how popular will they be?
Number 2. Would you rather gamble on the stock market or the horses? I reckon it's odds on punters will stick to betting slips.